Thank you so much for being here this evening. We are obviously so very excited to be celebrating Gypsy, which in my humble and accurate opinion is the greatest musical ever written. So I would love to introduce a few of my friends that I was able to coerce this evening for you. Among them, our June, Jordan Tyson, our our Tulsa, the Astaire Award-winning Kevin Csolak. Our Louise, Tony nominee Joy L. Woods. And then my work wife, Tony Award winner Audra McDonald. Please welcome them. Thank you, and good night now. Thank you. Hello, friends. How are you?
Hi, Mother.
Excellent.
They call me Mother. It's okay. Your Mother. We all came in today, and we were like, wow, we have not been together for several months, which is sad, but also just wonderful to be back here. So thank you all for joining us. So I wanted to start, Audra, with how this production came to be.
This production came to be basically because one Thanksgiving dinner many years ago, 9 years ago now, the late Gavin Creel, who's a very dear friend of ours, was at our house for Thanksgiving, as he often was, and he said, "Oh, I want to talk to you about something. He's a very, very, very passionate guy. And he dragged me into my garage. I don't know. There were other industry people at the Thanksgiving, but we were all close friends. So I don't know why we had to be so secretive in my own house, but there we were. And he said, I've been thinking about it. You need to play Rose. You need to do Gypsy. And I was like, what? He's like, no, I've been thinking about it. I've been thinking about it for forever. And it's something that needs to happen. You need to do it. And George Wolfe needs to direct you. You have to do this. You have to do this. And I was like, huh. What? And I thought about it, and I was like, well, it's certainly a role I never thought that I would play, but I could see how and why it could be played by a Black woman, and hey, I'm Black, I'll try it. And so then we went about, convincing George to do it. And of course, I had to get permission from Steve Sondheim. And he was like, yeah, I think that's a great idea. He literally said that. And he said, I want you to do a little night music too. And he said, which one do you want to do first? And I said, I want to do Gypsy first. And he said, okay. And then sadly, neither he nor Gavin lived to see it, but they were in our hearts every night. Yeah.
Fantastic. And through convincing George, and then you found Tom and Mara.
That's right. Joined us. Tom Curtahy and Mara Isaacs, who have shepherded this piece with love and passion and support for their company. And Tom and I first talked about it at your house in Provincetown.
Thanksgiving to Providence.
Yeah, and of course, Tom and I have been friends for a long time, connected by his late husband and my dear friend Terrence McNally, the great Terrence McNally. And so we talked about it, and Tom was like, yeah, we should do this. And we had some bumps along the way getting it to the point where we could say, yes, we're having this happen. It took a long time to get schedules together, and George Wolfe is a very busy, very brilliant and talented man, but boy, that man has a schedule. So we had to get in line, but we got in line, and then it was our turn, and we had our turn.
It was Rose's
turn.
It
was. Yeah. So thank you to Tom and Mara for making it happen.
Thank you. And so now to my three friends at the end, I will sort of give a little bit, peel the onion back behind sort of what the audition process was for each of you. Joy. Do you want to go first?
Sure.
Okay.
I remember Jordan and I at the time were doing The Notebook on 44th Street, and I remember it was a Wednesday matinee, and I left to go get my normal tacos in between, and I saw on those electric poster ad things on the sidewalk, it said Audra Gypsy. I was like, oh my God, how great. I can't wait to see that show. I can't wait to see whoever's going to be in it.
She never
what
saw
a hoot. And she never saw it.
She never saw it.
But it really did not cross my mind in any capacity that I would ever be a part of it. So when, the time came around to try out and go in for the first time, we were doing the season, the award season and all, and I remember the morning of the Tonys, sitting in a room on an open jar against a door. I pigtailed my braids and I just shot Little Lamb on my phone. Like, this is so bad. This is not going to go anywhere, but at least I did it and sent it out. And then suddenly I'm maybe a few sessions later in a room with you, and you're touching my hair, and we're sort of playing out the dressing room confrontation. And I'm like, I don't even know if I'm awake right now, but it all happened so quickly, and it was such a blessing to have people that saw something in me that I didn't even know was there, and that I got to continue to be around them throughout the run and sort of find that. Yeah, all in education, a great one.
Jordan?
It's funny because I have a different perspective of the story. Joy gets very excited about specific things, and so she busts into the dressing room and is like, oh my God, Audra McDonald is doing Gypsy. And I was like, wow. Like, this was most of our interactions, 90% of them. I was like, again, same thing though, like, I can't wait to see it. Like, that's gonna be great. Anyways, like, almost half hour now, we gotta get our makeup on. Did not see a world where I was gonna be in that at all. First of all, I mean, I knew the music, sort of. I had never seen a full production. I'd seen, like, snippets, so I was like, I don't know. So anyways, yeah, I think I was called in like June, and I went in many, many times, and each time, the first time I just went in and said, you know what, I already won. Like, I have dreamed about the day where I get to share space with George C. Wolfe. And I brought my copy of The Colored Museum and just put it in my bag. It was my first monologue I ever learned for college auditions was Get on Board, the opening to the play. I was just like, it's just there. This is a moment for me. This is like winning. And I was like, I shook his hand. I was like, thank you so much for having me. And then I left, and I was like, cool. Gonna go back to The Notebook. And they just kept calling me in. And the thing that I'm so grateful for from each person, I want to say on the creative team, but also Audra, was just like everyone met me where I was at. Because, honey, I don't dance like that. And Camille and all the associate choreographers and everything was just like, okay, what can you do? We're going to work on this. We're going to just, build. It wasn't about you had to be a finished product from the first time you step in the room. It was, okay, there's something here. And that's what rehearsal's for. And so, yeah, I got the gift of time from all that.
Can I tell the story of how we found out about each other getting
You must. I
remember, I have a big mouth. I can't keep it shut for anything. And so, of course, Jordan and I shared a room, and I would be open about being in for the show. And she would, what is it that you said about me?
You get excited?
Yeah, but I said, Audra's doing Gypsy. And you said, wow.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
that's her response to most of the things I would say that year. I was like, oh yeah, I'm going in for Gypsy. Like, I'm just talking about how I think it's going. I you know, blah, blah, blah. And every time it's just, wow. And one day I walk into the theater and we have to pass some other dressing rooms to get to ours. And I hear Jordan's voice in a room that's not ours. And I hear a scene that I do in my callbacks, and she's reading for June with Marianne Plunkett, who played another version of Allie in our show, and I was like, there she is, it's gonna be her. I had thrown away every possibility of me being in the show. I was like, she is perfect for it. I hope she gets it, and she just kept her cards so close to her chest and wouldn't talk about it at all. And I think maybe 2 weeks after I found out that I was going to be doing it, we're in the dressing room getting ready for the show. She's quiet, and there's a random champagne bottle, I think, next to us.
From John, I think.
That I gave myself a black eye trying to open later that night. And she turned to me. She said, "I think we're gonna be sisters."
Because you just never know. It was like, no matter if I'm in this or not, like, if you book this, I'm like, I'm here for you.
Yeah.
Celebrate, but you just never know.
Double trouble?
I know.
What a delight. So I thought that was really funny, and I wanted to share that. Thank you for listening.
Kevin?
Well, I'm just putting together now that when you two were keeping secrets from each other, I was next door doing The Outsiders, and I was singing Tulsa, 1967. And similarly, when I heard Audra Gypsy was happening, I was like, okay, amazing. And then a lot of my friends were like, you have to be Tulsa. And I was like, no. I was like, I don't know. Like, who knows? Like, if I even get the audition, whatever happens. And then I got the audition, and I was kind of like, okay. And then what was it? I think 6 auditions later, I did the initial just scene into song, and then we had the dance call. I had to do the dance call with the full ensemble because they were like, this boy has to dance. So I did that. We had 2 callbacks there, and then we came in and learned the full Tulsa number, the full dance number. And it was just a few of us. No, there was only 2 of us, actually. And that was really fun because it was one of my best friends. It was me and one of my best friends. So we kind of looked at each other. We were like, you know what? This is like a win-win for both of us, like whatever happens. And yeah, it was 6 auditions later. I remember George came into the room, and we had just been doing the dance, and we hadn't done everything all together. And George goes, so can we do the scene into the song, into the dance? And I was like, I don't think I have a choice, George. So we did, and I remember we did it one time, and he's sitting there looking at us. And he's like, okay, want to do it again? And I was like, I think we need I couldn't breathe. I was like, I think I need 5 more minutes. I think, because it's just, you know, if you saw the show, it's about a 4-minute, it's a 32-bar cut song and then about a 4-minute dance number.
Music in the mirror.
Yeah, exactly. So then did that, and then about 2 weeks later, I found out going into my last week over at Outsiders. So I knew, and I kind of also kept it close to my chest. So while you guys were right next door, it was interesting doing that show and singing the word Tulsa in that show over and over and over again, knowing that I was going to go into the experience.
Yeah, you called it into
Yeah, I did, yeah. And that was, it was a dream. I feel like I was so giddy that like week when I just kind of kept it close to my chest and only like me and my family and close friends knew. Yeah.
I think we all entered a very sacred space. It was September 30th, 2024, that we began rehearsals, and
which also was the day
it was
that Gavin passed away. He passed away on our first day of rehearsals.
And I remember you coming over to me, and I felt like, oh, he was watching down on us as we were beginning this process. But Jordan, you said something that really harkened true to the space that I think George and Camille and I all tried to bring into the room, which is that when you're doing a revival, there is a great sense of understanding what has been done with a piece, but also where the limitless potential for a piece to go at that moment. And I think I give incredible props to George for allowing everybody to expand the boundaries of what this piece can do and what this production went out to say and to do. And I think the incredible power of these actors, as well as Danny Burstein and our trio of strippers in the show, and down to the kids and the newsboys and all the women, everybody in the show it felt like we were in a very special room to see what was inside of this piece. And obviously, as I said, it is the best musical ever written. So when you had the book of Arthur Lawrence and the lyrics of Sondheim and Julie Stein's score, and we didn't change a word. We were honoring what was the piece that we were given, but hearing it through these actors, I firmly believe was such an incredible opportunity for audiences to re-examine a piece. And why do we do revivals? It's so that we are awake and so that we are listening to what is being said and being heard, so that we're actually being asked to meet the piece and listen to it again. And I think you all did such a beautiful job. And I wanted to let you all, each of you, take a moment and discuss perhaps a moment in the creation of one of your numbers, whether it was All I Need Is the Girl or Mama Was Married or Rose's Turn. Did you see I fed them which numbers I want them to talk about? subtle. But I feel like I feel like the space was given to do that, and the performances that you hear on this album, I will say this and I'll say it again, but I think George directed this album so exquisitely that what you are hearing when you listen to these tracks is what you experienced at the Majestic. Gals?
What was our assignment?
I think I have the assignment.
Okay.
I'll go first.
You
We'll
start,
go this way.
Yeah.
I think a moment in the process for me, aside from Camille A. Brown really pushing me in the physical aspect in the dance, I had to practice in chunks the number, because I couldn't do the whole thing all the way through without truly falling on the ground. And I was coming to rehearsal early, staying late, and just practicing. But the moment that George, I think, really turned the character for me is he goes, what if Tulsa's awkward? And the only way that he really does feel comfortable is when he is out on that stage performing and dancing. And I, just from all the things that I was thinking of, it just kind of made me really kind of take a step back and go, okay, that's so much more depth. And then it gives me so much more of a journey to go on with the number.
Do you feel that relates to you as a person?
Yes, for sure. Because I think how I grew up and how I kind of came into my training and my professional self, I definitely had two different versions of myself that I was. I come from a small town in New Jersey, where I was like the one boy who danced in my high school. We had a dirt racing track in my hometown. But I would come into the city. I was a kid actor, and I came into the city, and I had my persona in the city that I had. And then when I went back to Jersey, I didn't talk about anything professional. So I think that really connected me and who I am to my core into the role. And it really, I'm so grateful for it. It was really, I think, the journey of experiencing that every day for 9 months was beautiful. So yeah.
There's so much. Well, I will say first off that it was just even not just the music, but it helped in the music and the scenes, being in the room with you just melted something that makes you nervous, having someone who I've now known on and off stage and we've grown up together in such a pivotal part of both of our lives, that it was okay, I can fail and be fine because there's one person here who I trust and who will laugh with me and not at me, and we're gonna figure it out together. So at the core of everything that we did, I was okay, I'm safe here. We'll figure this out. And then
I think the story of this song, If Mama Was Married itself, personally was something that it took me such a long time to figure out the way that it looked on us. Because you can watch other versions of it all you want. You can watch whatever actor from whatever revival or production, regional or Broadway or West End or anything like that, and it'll look nothing like Jordan and Joy. And what our specific mother and experience growing up with her is like. So I don't know, like you said, the gift of time. And I feel like I didn't figure it out until previews or after opening.
Yeah.
But I could always look at you.
Yeah.
And know if I was on the right track, if that makes any sense.
Yes, and the fact that you're bringing up the previews in time, I think that part was so important, having time and having time to be running the full show. Because specifically, If Mama Was Married, every scene really, but that song had to land a very important realization for both of these sisters to then go to the next town, and then she breaks her mother's heart by leaving, and then Louise becomes the focus. And so every single 3-minute chunk of this show had to change everything. And so it's like, how can I get to the core of this in like however many bars of music? Yeah, and so that's where George's scene work came in, of just, you don't know each other. You're learning one big thing about each other right now, that you've been living together for your entire lives and didn't realize this person was suffering in this way, and this person has been wearing a mask, and now
And that you two both see the same psychotic things about your mother and think of them in the same way because you're sisters. You find the same things to go into the corner and giggle at, and you have no idea that your sister's doing the same thing in the next corner. And so sort of figuring out how the puzzle pieces fit for each other throughout the number, and then the full puzzle's put together and you just realize it's such a devastating photo. That's... Yeah,
And then
that
I
was
leave.
fun to figure out. And then she leaves me.
With me, we go on a little trip.
But there was it's interesting that you mentioned about the time. There was a fun exploration of that number, because there was a day in previews where I came up to both of you and I said, this may sound utterly insane, but to my ear, the song sounded low in both of your voices. And I think part of, again, and we will talk about this with my wife over here, but the freedom of taking a piece like this, obviously it's sacred, it's Gypsy, but to be able to say, this key is not working for these two performers, let's make sure that we are showcasing the talent that we have, and let's put the song in the right key. And you both were so game to jump and say, okay, you're a little crazy to do this, but let's try. But the minute we did that, I remember everything really clicked into place, and everything sparkled at that moment. And it was so clear that the relationship was there between two sisters, and through your voices, and really allowing, this is geeky musical sonorities, but like the timbre of both of your voices arrived at the key that was there. And so then when the modulation comes in for the second half of the song, it really lifted, and it gave that moment, so that when they're both saying, oh mama, oh mama, oh mama, you heard the cry in the voice that you needed to feel at the end of that number, which really is the realization that they're saying goodbye to each other at that moment. Yeah. Oh, I'm gonna cry.
Yeah, break my heart. Don't you?
No, but it was a perfect marriage of realizing how we had the ability and freedom to create within our production.
Yeah.
So you did a little song on the Tony Awards.
Apparently I
Do you remember that? Remember that tune?
did. I remember that tune. I can name that tune. You guys are all too young for that show. Anyway, no, some of you are, okay, good, all right. Yeah, no, Rose's turn, I mean, I want to say one thing first. What you all don't know about this particular cast is how committed we were to telling that story every night, to the point where the story did not stop when we left the stage. Is it okay that I say this?
Oh,
Yeah.
It's my favorite thing about
Air
the
it
show.
out.
Yeah.
Yes.
We stayed in character off stage and in the wings. For those people who sat in certain sections of the theater, you might have seen me off stage yelling at the girls. I was always, what they were on, except for when I'm not supposed to see them, which is obviously when if mom was married. But those two. No, those two. But everybody played. This entire cast threw themselves into these roles and played, and that meant they stayed connected to who they were off stage, in the wings. So, I mean,
Everything that led into If Mama Was Married, to Grant Singer's office, that whole
whole thing.
That whole what's it called when you do one song and sequence.
That whole sequence, yes. But during when the boys were dancing on stage and June comes off to change, and Louise has not done the moo to June's liking, and I'm upset with Louise too. All of that, we improv that off stage every night. And sometimes June would lecture Louise. Sometimes I would lecture Louise. Sometimes I would ignore her and just try and keep June happy. Some nights I would actually give Louise a crumb and say, that was better, but it could be better, and then go back to June. And some nights before we would start the whole Newsboys and their audition, every night actually.
No, it was every night. Yeah.
Every night, I'd come through the curtain to talk to Mr. Gransinger, and Herbie would be like, "Oh God, get her backstage," and I would be yelling at the Newsboys to get them into place, and they would always have something different. And like a couple nights, one was like, "Madam Rose, I have to go to the bathroom." I'm like, "You should pee on your own time. We gotta go." But it was things like that. Every once in a while, I would catch June and Tulsa kind of talking to each other. I'm like, "What are you doing?" A couple nights, I would try and tell. I hope you guys don't mind. I can tell now because it's over. One night, or a couple of nights, June would come off stage, and I would notice that something was going on. So I would say to June in that little break, it's like, "You know what? I think it's time to get some new boys. I think we need. I don't like that Tulsa. I think it's time to get rid of him." And she's like, "No. I think he's fine, Mama. I think he's fine."
I'm like, he has some really great choreography
I'm like,
ideas.
I don't like how he acts. I don't like, But the whole point is we stayed in character so that we could stay within that story the entire time. And we had a cast that was, even the kids, even the little kids would improv with us backstage before they would do it. So it was just a cast that was so brave and trusted each other so much and stayed fully committed to telling that story. So I hope you guys don't mind that I aired that, but now that the show's over, we can
But
say
you should
that
tell
that's
them about the performance that went down in the pit too.
Oh,
So for the dressing room scene, we had an incredible orchestra, 26-piece orchestra, the most incredible
Largest on Broadway at the time.
led by Mother. They would act out the dressing room scene in the pit.
Which one?
Our dressing room scene. It was happening in the pit, too.
What do you mean it was happening?
Oh, you haven't seen the videos?
I played Rose.
He was Rose. And you'd have different...
And my bass player played Louise. And it started as a tiny section of it. And then it eventually got to the point where once they entered the dressing room scene, I would come down from the podium and act out the entire scene.
With a wig.
With a
They
wig.
had costumes. Full costumes.
Send it to me.
And then there were other players who, I assume the Grammys are like, please edit this out. and then other players would play the maid and the photographer, and there were just costumes, and it was a show.
This is how much joy we had during the show. But I
That
will
was
say
commitment.
That was
you
commitment.
see?
But I will
we only
say
knew how to play Rose's turn by doing the scene.
But I will say that he was very smart. He had a video, but I didn't see it until after the show closed because there's no way I could have that in my head. But at any rate, back to Rose's turn. I just wanted to say that about the commitment of this cast.
Thanks, Mom.
Rose's turn was, it started with Andy and I trying it in concert to see if I could do it when we were talking about trying to get Gypsy going and nobody knew. And so we found
Can
it.
I actually tell a little story about that?
Yes. You're the moderator.
No.
You're in charge, by the way.
We're going to go to couples therapy later. Well, when we were talking about doing the show, one of the things I said was like, let's see what it feels like to do one of the songs. And I said, this sounds crazy. I was like, this is the most extractable piece for a concert audience to do Rose's turn. I don't know what I was thinking.
yeah, not true, but okay.
But we were about to go to London to the Palladium to do a concert, and I said, let's just do this. We're across the pond. Nobody will talk about it. And then if it's terrible, maybe it'll like make its way over and everybody will forget it. And you actually came over to my place and you sang it, and it was interesting. I'm sometimes very blunt with her, and you sang it, and I looked at you and I go, please don't ever do it again that way.
Oh my gosh.
But the reality was, the subtext of it was that in working with you, January will be 20 years.
Oh my God! Wow.
And in working with you this long, I know you to be the greatest truth teller I have ever met as an artist. And what was very interesting, because the first time of probably doing it for anybody except my cat, was that you hadn't done it out loud, and I think you needed that. I think you needed that first moment to just sort of do it. And what my comment was is, I feel you're doing it in the way that you think people think you need to be doing it, but I actually need you to do it the way that is you. And then from there, we were able to start to peel that away. So
Yeah, and then, so we started to peel it away, and I was, at the time, my daughter was getting ready to go off to college, and I all of a sudden started to understand the anger Rose felt. I broke down crying. I couldn't get through it for a while. Yeah. And I still couldn't get through what I was doing, and I'm talking about it. I can't get through it. Oh my God. But then when we started to work on it in the room with George, if you get a chance to do a show with George Wolfe, do a show with George Wolfe. If you get a chance to be in a room with George Wolfe, be in a room with George Wolfe. If you get a chance to listen to George Wolfe talk anywhere, listen to that man talk. You are going to come away changed. You're going to learn something. You will be a different human being. And working on this piece with him changed me. And one of the things George would say is, if you want them to stay for the pain, you got to invite them to the party. And so it was very important for us to discover the journey that Rose takes through that total breakdown that becomes a breakthrough, to make sure that the first part of it was the rage, the joy, the I'm taking it, it's mine, and all of that. And George would just sit in a room with me and Andy, and he'd sit on the floor, and he'd be like, okay, let's try that again. All right, let's try that again. Okay, now what do you feel about that? How do you feel about that? Do you think she's this? But what the brilliant thing that George does is he leads you to find it, as opposed to telling you what it's supposed to be. And then when you hit pay dirt, you both kind of know it, but George doesn't go, brilliant. He goes, all right, how'd that feel? And that's how you know that you're at least on the right road. Right? Am I right about that? That's definitely.
Sure. Also, that's what he meant by that.
Yeah. All right. How'd that feel? Also, George's other big quote is, there's only 2 pauses in this show, and neither one of them are yours. And that's the note he gives to everybody, because he wants you in constant discovery mode. If you sit back and have time to think about what's happening, then you're late, and you're not in real life, and you're not in real time. And that was very important to him, and that's a very important part of Rose's turn as well. Not sitting long enough to listen to what I sound like, and not caring what I sounded like either, because the story was more important. Mm-hmm.
And that leads me to why we're all here, which is you're hearing a lot about what the creation was behind this process. But all of that meticulous work is what has transpired into this album. And we sound like a little bit of a broken record, but George and I and David Lai and David Caddick took painstaking care to figure out, with our producers Tom and Mara, to figure out what did we want this album of this Gypsy to look like. And when you look at Gypsy, obviously there's song after song after song. They're all great songs. But we wanted to make sure that audiences, oral audiences and listeners 30, 40 years from now will understand what it would have been like to walk into the Majestic. And I think that we have given more of a radio play than has ever been given to Gypsy in terms of stitching together what the actual story is. So you feel the transitions in a very different way. If you listen to what happens at the top of Act Two with the Toreadorables that then lead us into Together Wherever We Go. And right after Together Wherever We Go, we give a snippet of what our entrance into Wichita sounded like. And that was a creation between myself and Daryl Waters to really give this world that says, okay, you think you know what the play was, and the play is about to go 180 degrees in a very different direction. So that I think by adding that transition, we're sonically transporting the listener to feel what this production was doing in a visual way as well, which also culminated in this beautiful swirl on stage of a dressing room scene and arrives there. And so I think one of the things that makes this album so unique is that it has that story being told. The other part of that makes this album very special, and I want to give a huge shout out to my friends at the Julie Stein Estate, who gave us the blessing to...
It's okay.
I know. To restore the original orchestrations that had not been heard in the way that they were heard since the original production of 1959. Sid Raymond and Robert Ginsler were the original orchestrators of Gypsy. And I felt that it was our duty, which sounds like a strong word, but I felt that it was imperative for us to go back to, in classical music, we say the urtext, but to go back to what the original version of these orchestrations was, because every other version that had been done, they're all wonderful. You can listen to them on your own time. But listen to ours. Every other version is slightly different, but I felt the only way to really understand what the intention of this piece was to go back to the original. So Josh Clayton and Jason Buell were my cohorts in crime, and they were scouring the original papers, which were up at Columbia. They had recordings from the original production, and they were painstakingly going through, well, do you hear what the second cello is doing in this moment? I was like, sounds great. Let me know what the original was. And we were able to put that together. And then when we were able to get in the room with Camille and George and with this cast, then we were able to know what room we had to play with at that moment. And so then what you hear is our version with great love and homage to that original production and that original orchestration. And I am just so thrilled. I think I've never actually felt more fear in my entire life. I like to say as an artist, maybe you agree or disagree, but like every 2 years you should do something that sort of resets your pacemaker and says, I can still keep doing this. And I will never forget the moment of recording the overture, which I think is arguably the greatest overture
Ever.
on Broadway.
Yeah, it is.
And I had the most exquisite orchestra, and they were all just with me in that moment. But it was that terrifying feeling of saying, oh my gosh, this is our chance to tell this musical story our way, and it's going to be captured. And we recorded it. So we recorded on a Sunday night, and then we recorded all day Monday. And more than any other album I've ever done, we actually recorded, sometimes cast vocals are recorded after, and like the band will lay down a bunch of tracks and then the cast will come in and record later. We actually did 85% of this with it like a live performance as it was happening. The only thing that was pre-recorded was all the kids stuff because we wanted to let them have a day off on that Monday. But on that first Sunday, as everybody was getting into the studio, I thought, okay, let's lay down the overture. We'll have like, nobody's around. We have quiet. We can do this. And we did it. And it was good. It was okay. But I was like, we can do better. And then we had finished on Monday night. I think you had finally finished Rosé's turn, as I call it.
Yes.
And you had gone home.
Crawled home.
And I looked at the orchestra and I said, we have about 35 minutes left. And before I could finish what I wanted to say, they all flipped to the front of the book because they knew how important it was for us to capture this moment. And something came over us, and I think that performance is so electric. That horn call that you hear right at the top is from that take, and it just felt like my poor trumpets had been, their lips were falling off at that moment, but everybody in that room collectively was on the same page to want to capture this moment because we felt so special. I will share that, and maybe if you can all speak about this, but I think our Sitzprobe was one of the most magical moments. Do you all have any thoughts from that?
Do you want to describe what for those?
Oh, yes.
Would you explain what a
So a Sitzprobe is when the orchestra has had, the cast has all their rehearsals, and then the orchestra has their rehearsals that are reading the show, and we're starting to put this all together, and then we invite the cast in, and it's really not a moment for the cast to be belting and singing and doing full out, but it's a chance for the cast to get to hear the sonorities in the music, to hear the subtext, to hear the characters that are being played by the bassoon, that are being played by the flute, that are being played by the muted brass, and to really be able to listen to all those colors, because this orchestration is so brilliantly crafted. We don't write them like we used to. And when you hear these orchestrations, you hear that they were providing a beautiful subtext for these characters. I mean, the greatest thing in, the greatest joy of getting to conduct a score like this is you're constantly hearing new things. And part of conducting, I believe, and music directing is carving that out and finding moments. And so we went over to, sometimes you rehearse in these sort of horrible rooms that dampen the sound. And I was like, no, we're going to the Rolls Royce of rooms. So we went to the Baryshnikov Center, also called the Domena Center, and they have this gorgeous room with wood paneling, and a lot of records are done in there. And we were able to go in there and just let the sound explode. And obviously, we were a fully acoustic show. We had no amplification. We had no keyboards, no synthesizers. And so I just remember seeing people's faces with tears streaming down their faces to hear it, because you felt like you were stepping back into 1959.
The good parts of 1959.
There you go.
Yeah,
There you
say that,
go.
but yeah. It was magical. The Sitzprobe was magical, and it's a very important moment for the cast and the orchestra to meet finally, and then begin our journey together. And it just adds another important layer, and an ocean of support, for us to then ride our boats of these characters as we tell this story. Yeah, it was incredible. I mean, I feel like every number got a standing ovation. Of course, we're giving ourselves standing ovations, but it was just incredible. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to speak a little about that myself. I think it was really, every time I hear an orchestra, I weep. So this was no different. It was among the top experiences, if I do say so myself, because it is truly one of the best scores on the planet. And I think seeing someone that I've grown up with step into a role like that just made me weep even harder. And seeing how large the orchestra is, and just the cast and the pit, how large of a group of people that we had to put together this show, and how, like you said, they all wanted to flip to their books without you even saying anything. That was felt in the way that they played, that there were so many people committed to making this what it was. Just waterworks. And I know that the strips weren't fully orchestrated when we did the Sitzprobe, and so being able to listen to it throughout the run, because this is the first time that we've done something like that, where Louise's final strip had quite an orchestration, quite an arrangement, and getting to hear new things about it throughout the run. It was just so special, and to have this one little piece of Gypsy that will always be ours and that will always be changing and new to us is really special. So yeah.
Yeah. I'll add to that. Two things came to mind. One is that day when you hear the orchestra I always think like orchestras make the actor's job so much easier, because now I don't have to really try to make something up. You hear the want, you hear the desire in the way that a harp goes like that, or how, I mean, I thought like the waltz, a waltz can sort of make you feel woozy. I mean, this girl that I played was sick to her stomach over this decision she had to make, and I don't have to invent it. I have 26 people underneath me who are having their own contribution, and then I'm just the body that you see, taking all of that. And then the other thing I thought about was the director, Shelley Williams, on Notebook. We were working on a song in the Notebook, and we were in tech or something, and I had this fear of being alone. Like my character was just standing there. First of all, the stage in that show was so dark. It was all black, and you're the only person out there at some moments. And I just go, I'm trying. Yeah, there's a pool of water. I'm like, where am I? All my loved people are not here. And she just was like, you're never alone on stage. In a musical, you always have people who are literally in the same beat as you are. And so that for me is, I don't know, we are so lucky to do this work, because many people cannot say that they, are supported every minute they are on, at their job, and we are.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just say, like, I feel there's so many moments in this process that I think we were so grateful for. I mean, the first table read was one of them. The Sitzprobe was the other, obviously first preview and opening. But the Sitzprobe, I always love Sitzprobes because it's the first time, I don't know, like we were rehearsing with a piano and drums, and you almost get so used to it. And I think when we were sitting in the Sitzprobe, I feel like we all could just really drop into the imagination of what it is going to be. And I think, like, for me, it felt like I was like back on my school bus going to school, being a little kid, imagining myself being that Gene Kelly or being that the Nicholas brothers and dancing, and then they having, like, they always have that orchestra behind them. So I think it, like, sitting there and watching everyone perform, it just felt like I felt like a little kid again. And also the giddiness of what it is going to be when we are on stage, when we do go into the theater. But I feel like that moment allows us to just, our imaginations to kind of run wild. I remember there was a moment where I almost was like, should I just do the full dance? Should I just go for it? But I didn't, but I got to stand there and just listen. And I think I came in early, I think, too. I was so ready, and I remember I was like, once, and you were like, and I was like, you're right, they have to vamp a little longer. It was a funny moment. I have a video of it. But yeah, no, it was, I think it was such an incredible moment, the Sitzprobe, I think, just, and that connection. And then throughout the run, I got to sneak down into the pit when I wasn't on stage and hang out and listen. Sometimes it was Rose's turn, sometimes it wasn't. You know?
It was a bath of sound.
Yeah.
Okay, you each get 2 lines or 2 sentences to describe what the recording process was like for you, or what it meant to you.
Kevin.
Thanks, Audra. It just felt like a moment in the history of my life that I'll never forget. Standing there for the first time by myself, singing with an orchestra in a recording studio with titans of our industry, and titans of the orchestral industry. Yeah, that's what I'll say. It just felt like I feel like I was taking screenshots, and I'll definitely be looking back on those screenshots for the rest of my life. Yeah.
I would say I was still discovering.
Oh my God, yeah.
Still learning when we were doing that. And
we recorded late. We recorded about 100 performances into the run, which is rare for a show. Because normally
right.
You'll open a show and then, like, the following Monday, everybody's like, "Okay, what are we doing?"
Yeah, I'm alive
but
again.
thankfully, thank you to our producers for opening during the holidays, because I was like, nobody's going into the studio right at the holidays.
Yeah, discovering still, and also living in the characters. It wasn't like we were going to record like Gypsy, acoustic, like close to the mic, like lower the volume. You don't have to project as much. We were in the barn of the Majestic Theater that goes all the way out there and did what we did on stage. So, yeah.
Yeah. I like to think that, when it comes to, I guess it's any sort of cast album, but revivals especially, this will be the first thing that comes up when you search or look for Gypsy. If you're growing up and getting into musical theater and you learn about Gypsy, you look it up. This is the new chapter of the legacy of the show that we're leaving. And yeah, I think that's neat. And that always feels heavy in a way. Am I going to do it justice, even if it is 100 days after we would have done it? And do I know enough? Does what I feel read enough into the mic? You don't have this to look at. I don't know if it's there's so much. When you care, you worry. So I think that was more than 2 sentences. I'm sorry about it.
I loved every part of it.
Oh, wow. But I think it was a well-oiled machine. It went quick.
Yeah.
And so we kind of had to show up knowing what we were going to do, and that was part of the, oh boy, I hope I do it right. But such a great group, such a hardworking, trustworthy, safe, supportive group of people. So it was just fun doing it with your friends.
Now, this was your first time in a studio?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
How did it go for you?
Yeah, I think what I will say is that in a way, it was like going back to rehearsal. Being in the room and with George giving you notes, and it's not about how you sound. It's not about like just if you sound good or not. It's like, were you in the right moment? I want to feel more of the pain here. It was like getting a tune-up in a way, getting into rehearsal space, and then being able to see. It was nice to be able to see you and the orchestra because they're under.
No, I was always there, but you didn't look. But
Yeah. No. But I enjoyed that part of it. That it was a part of the process of learning even more about these characters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I love all of that. I just want to give a shout out to our label, Octoverse Media. This is their first release, and if you, please go out and buy. There's an exquisite vinyl that comes with the most gorgeous coffee table book, and I just give them such props for creating something like that, because I actually think like the 16-year-old in me that actually did collect vinyls when I was growing up in Texas, in Houston, and I would just scour these. And so what you get from seeing this this magnificent sort of, it's like, it really is a coffee table book of what our production was, and it gives so much information so that while you're listening to it, you're also experiencing that. So I just wanted to thank them. I am told they will have additional releases on the way, which is very exciting. So we have a few audience questions that we're going to do rapid fire because we're going to give you a few songs. What?
I'm kind of enjoying talking.
Oh, wait. I'm going to ask this last before we go into. For Audra, Kristen asks, when you had your 2 shows in one day, what did you do in between to prepare? Do you remember that?
Yes. No, I mean, 2-show day for me was about surviving. The hardest part about a 2-show day was going from Rose's turn to then going back to the top, just because your guts are all over the floor, and then someone has to sweep them up, give them back to you, and then you put lipstick on, and then you go do it again. But what I will say is I learned how to give myself grace sometimes, in that I never judged. No, I always judged myself, but I recognized that the imperfections are where you grow. And so I knew I was going to learn something that night that I didn't know about Rose that day. And that happened over and over again. But it also nearly killed me, and I always had Reese's peanut butter cups afterwards.
I see. From Erica and Frank, this is for all four of you, so you're about to do rapid fire. It's a two-part. One is serious, one is funny. First part, how do you take care of your voice with such a rigorous show schedule? And then, what was your favorite, or what was your funniest blooper moment during the entire process?
I have one already.
Oh, wow, okay. Well, how do you take care of your voice?
I warm up like a mofo, like every day, multiple times a day. It's easy, and I would do multiple rounds of the same thing because I was like, oh, not quite there yet. Let's try again. And physical warm up, like getting my body actually hot and sweating, like that warms my voice up quicker and all of that. My funny moment. No, also being a hermit, sort of. At a certain point, I just stopped going out. I was like, I have friends, I promise. But they will not be seeing me. My friend is here right now. She did not see me for a long time. And they love me still, and I'm grateful. My funniest moment I had was in Mr. Goldstone. And everybody is competing for Mr. Goldstone's attention, right? My mother is breathing down my neck. You need to be seen by this man. You need to show him that you're talented. What are you doing? Go dance. Go do something. Do anything. I'm like, I can do a split. I don't know. I winked at him on accident. And this is the actor Andrew Kober, who is incredible and a comedian. And so for the rest of that song, I got the... I couldn't even look him in the eye anymore. I was like, get me out of this song right now. So bad.
Okay, I think I got mine. I think I remember that. I remember you like turning up stage and like laughing and being like, what's going on? Keeping my voice in check, because we did raise the key of my song as well.
There's a theme here.
Yeah, I'm blowing bubbles with a straw. I think using a straw is what kept me in check through the winter times. And my blooper is in my number. In like the first part of it, when I do like little turns and being very, on point. I do this one turn, and it's right before I say, and then I sell it here. And I do it, and I did the turn, and I just misjudged where the floor was. So I did the turn, and I'm supposed to stop myself with my right foot, and I didn't, and I went, whoa! And I verbally went, whoa! And I did another turn and kind of stopped for a second, and the entire audience laughed. So I was like, great, we're on the same page. We're on the same page. We're all doing that. So that was and then I had to work up from that. I was like, and then I sell it here. I think they knew something that it wasn't. That doesn't usually happen.
That's so good.
Yeah.
Oh man, now that you're mentioning it, the whole run was a laugh fest. I don't know if I can pick just one thing, but I think Louise's track in the show is difficult because there's so much talking, not as much singing, and I found during this run that talking tires me out much more than singing does, because you can have a technique to singing. That's something that you rehearse, but when it comes to just yapping, I don't think as much about how I'm placed in things. So shutting up really helped when I wasn't on stage, which was difficult, but I did my best. And I think funniest moments, there were so many, but I will say personally, when it's the first strip, I'm leaving, I've just shown my strap to the audience, I turn to run up stage to go quick change for next strip, and I trip over my dress. I fall flat onto my face, and the audience did that. Like it was Wii Sports when you throw your ball the wrong way and the audience goes, oh! I was laughing the whole rest of the strips, and yeah, lots of that. That was funny.
I can't remember any of the run. Taking care of my voice was very difficult, and Joy hit on it. It was the speaking that was the hardest part for me, for Rose, and also because she's always in fifth gear. And so, the other thing is you can't, like, there's very few quiet moments for Rose. And there's a lot of times when people are talking about how she is speaking. So I can't be quiet because people are saying she's yelling, saying she's loud, saying she's, always in your face, whatever. So you have to be doing that. That's what the story says. And so you have to. And that was really a killer for me. So as far as taking care of my voice, I don't know. I mean, I barely got through that show. I really did. It's a killer. It's a killer. I'm so glad I did it. I don't think I could have done it one more day, because I didn't know how to do it 50%. I had to do it 110%. That role takes you. It takes you at the beginning of the show, and then it drops you off at the end of the show. So I had to give 150%. And so I know that in doing so, I probably wasn't as technically proficient as I should have been. But it was for the benefit of telling that story. And as far as bloopers, I mean, the only thing I can think of, I mean, I'm sure my entire show was a blooper as far as the cast watching, because they could see my foibles. I will say this, one day when we were rehearsing in the rehearsal room, and I was trying to figure out how to do Everything's Coming Up Roses, and I was just struggling, but I was trying to sing through it. Do you remember this day?
When you did an appeal?
Yes, I literally turned to go back to you to sing whatever that is.
There's the bell or something.
There's the bell,
follow me.
I turned to Joy to do it, and I literally just went, bam, and just landed on my butt. And I do believe, I mean, and I didn't know the cast.
Scared.
I was scared too. Well, we didn't know the cast that well at that point. But I think, and at that point I was thinking a couple of things. I was like, well, yes, that happened. And I was thinking, thank God it's rehearsal. But then I was thinking, is everybody thinking that Audra Gypsy was a bad idea right now? Because I'm thinking it. But then I remember thinking, all this failure and this flailing and this failure is is necessary to get to where you need to be. So, but I landed on my butt that day.
Yes.
So we're going to take one more question. Obviously, you could sit up here and listen to all of us, but then you'd all fall asleep after a while. But you can tell that we had no fun and no love putting this together. But I just want to, again, rapid fire for all of you. Sharon?
Not taking that note at all.
Sharon asks, what is it like to revisit Gypsy now after being away from it?
Had to definitely go back and look at them words and prepare for today. That's for sure.
Same.
Yeah, we did the sound check, and I was like, it's not this high. I was like, are you playing it in the right key? That's not the key we did it in.
Yeah.
We don't know what's going to come out of our mouths tonight. But I will say this, it's because I'm not doing this rapid fire, but it's because I was saying to the people who were graciously putting my face on before I came out here, and I was saying to them, it's like, a gymnast who runs and does their routine every single day, and the muscles are doing it every single day to the point where all you know how to do is that. Mm-hmm. And then you stop. And you stop for 3.5 months. And then someone says, get that file. And you go, where's that file? I don't know where that file is. So you're going to hear very special singing from us, because I'm just being honest, because our bodies have not done this for 3.5 months after doing it for over how many performances did we do? 283?
Something like that.
I don't know. Tom, how many performances did we do? 10,000. Nobody knows. We did
over
a lot.
250 performances.
Over 250 performances every single day.
Yeah, we had a cake for it.
Yeah, we did. We had a couple cakes. So it's muscular.
Yeah.
And so it goes away, so it'll be interesting to hear it tonight. Good luck, everybody.
Yeah.
Go.
I would say yes. I would say for me, like hearing all the music and sound check and just seeing you guys, it just brings back like the unchosen family that we had, and all the all the little things. Yeah, like in Goldstone when we would come back and we would have a little moment of like being kind of flirty behind your back in Goldstone.
And every once in a while I caught it.
You caught it a couple
I started
times.
to catch it.
And I would genuinely be so nervous after you. I mean, she hates me. Audra hates me. Not Rose, Audra. But I think it's all of that. It's like all like the backstage choreography of seeing, you know, the prop people and like all the stage hands and the stage management and the little things that you do that you just develop through a process. So all of that has just gotten brought up and all that love for me. Yeah.
I think it's like looking back at all of this and singing it again. It's just I just go, I can't believe I did that. I truly, I mean, you can't think about it when you're in it because you just have to make sure you show up for the next performance and like just end the week. All right, keep my body all right. So it's been shocking, and also like my voice has definitely like. I feel like a boy who's in puberty. My voice dropped like a month after the run ended because it was like a muscle staying at this one. I was only singing this certain amount of of my register every single day. So it's been nice to feel like an adult again, a little bit.
Well, on that note, we really want to thank Lynn and everybody at the Grammy Museum for having us this evening. And it goes without saying, thank you to you all for being here this evening to celebrate our Grammy nomination with us. We're all very excited, and I just want to close with the fact that you can tell that there was love. There really was love. And in these times right now that we're living in, I think this album is a balm for that, as crazy as the story of the show is. But you hear vibrant lives, and you hear unique lives and rich lives being told. And this is the weirdest thing I'm ever going to tell an audience. I hear music in colors, and I think this album has depth in it and beautiful, rich colors. And so thank you for listening, and thank you for supporting us. And now to our performances.
We're out of here.
Unfortunately, I don't have enough space to do the whole 4-minute dance number. I wish I did. You're gonna really imagine it, yeah. But yeah, we find Tulsa kind of. Louise catches him exploring his creativity and his dream here, and then the beautiful thing I think that happens is that he kind of takes the leap of going, okay, let me show you my heart, let me show you that dream, right? But there's one thing that's missing in said dream. So I pretend I'm at home getting dressed for a date. I comb my hair, I take a flower, I put it in my lapel, and then I spot the audience. Once my clothes were shabby, tailors called me cabby, so I took a vow, said this bum will be Beau Brummel. Now I'm smooth and snappy, now my tailor's happy, I am the cat's meow, my wardrobe is a wow. Paris silk, Paris tweed, there's only one thing I need. Got my tweed pressed, got my best vest, all I need now is the girl. Got my striped tie, got my hopes high, got the time and the place, and I got rhythm. Now all I need's the girl to go with him. If she'll just appear, we'll take this big town for a while. And if she'll say, my darling, I'm yours, I'll throw away my striped tie and my best pressed tweed. All I really need is the girl. And then 4 minutes of beautiful orchestral dancing. Thank you very much. Thank you.
You want to switch? Oh, you got it. This is a part in the show where Rose has just sort of ruined June's chances of making it big on Broadway by being Rose.
A maniac. No,
Yes.
sorry.
And we are sort of left to deal with the pieces of just the aftermath of, you know, your mother storms out and the tension still sits in the room, but it's the time you get to let your feelings out a little bit.
Yeah. Fantasize a little bit.
The moment we were talking about in terms of getting to know each other and seeing that we have similar puzzle pieces and how they fit together. I wish Mama would marry a plain man so we could all be together. If Mama was married, we'd live in a house as private can be. Just Mama, 3 ducks, 5 canaries, a mouse, 2 monkeys, 1 father, 6 turtles, and me. If Mama was married.
If Mama was married, I'd jump in the air and give all my toe shoes to you. I'd get all those hair ribbons out of my hair, and once and for all, I'd get Mama out too. If Mama was married.
Mama, get out your white dress. You've done it before.
Without much success. Mama, Godspeed and God bless. We're not keeping score. What's 1 more or less? Oh, Mama, say yes and waltz down the aisle while you may.
I'll gladly support you. I'll even escort you.
And I'll gladly give you away. Oh, Mama, get married today. If Mama was married, there wouldn't be any more. Let me entertain you. Let me make you smile. I will do some kicks. Woo!
I will do some tricks.
Sing out, Louise!
Baby! Mama, please take our advice. We aren't the ones.
I'm not Fanny Bryce. Mama, we'll buy you the rice. If only this once you wouldn't think twice. It could be so nice if Mama got married to stay.
But Mama gets married. Married. Married.
And never gets carried away. Oh, Mama. Oh, Mama. Oh, Mama. Get married today.
At this point in the show has barely just started, and dear, shy, unassuming Rose, after having won just by sheer force the Uncle Jocko's Kitties contests with little baby June, comes home and decides they can do better. And decides, you know what, my girl is going to be a star. And the beautiful thing about this song is everything she sings in this song comes true. She wills it into being. And she's, if you think, really listen to the lyrics, maybe I'll sing them correctly, I don't know. But if I do sing them correctly, you'll see that everything that she said and everything she hoped for and everything she dreamt of is actually what happens. But she needs a little cash to make it happen, and she's hoping her dear father will help her. And so this is her pitch to good old Papa to see if Papa can help her make her baby's dreams come true and therefore her dreams come true. Anybody that stays home is dead. Oh, I forgot to say one more thing. I forgot. Sorry. Rose, it's up for you to decide whether she's confident or not. But listen to the next words that she says. So I'm going to say them in character, but listen. She puts a conditional on whether or not she will actually die. Anybody that stays home is dead. If I die, it won't be from sitting. It'll be from fighting to get up and get out. Some people can get a thrill knitting sweaters and sitting still. That's okay for some people who don't know their life. Some people can thrive and bloom, living life in a living room. That's perfect for some people of 105. But I at least gotta try. When I think of all the sights that I gotta see at, all the places I gotta play, all the things that I gotta be at, come on, Papa, what do you say? Some people can be content playing a bingo and paying rent. That's peachy for some people, for some humdrum people to be. But some people ain't me. I had a dream, a wonderful dream, Papa, all about June and the Orpheum Circuit. Give me a chance and I know I can work it. I had a dream, just as real as can be, Papa. There I was in Mr. Orpheum's office, and he was saying to me, Rose, get yourself some new orchestrations, new routines and red velvet curtains. Get a feathered hat for the baby, autographs in front of the theater. Get an agent, and in jig time you'll be being booked in the big time. Oh, what a dream! A wonderful dream, Papa. And all that I need is $88, Papa. That's what he said, Papa. Only $88.
You ain't getting 88 cents from me, Rose.
Then I'll get it someplace else. But I'll get it and get my kids out. Good pie to blueberry pie. Good riddance to all the socials I had to go to, all the lodges I had to play, all the Shriners I said hello to. Hey, LA, I'm coming your way. Some people sit on their butts, got the dream, yeah, but not the guts. That's living for some people, for some humdrum people, I suppose. Well, they can sit and rot